Okay, so I want to count down my top 10 favorite movie anti-heroes. It's the main character in a film that lacks the conventional heroic qualities. But first, I want to throw out some honorable mentions because there's just too many to fit in a top 10. Tony Montana from Scarface, Alex DeLarge from A Clockwork Orange, Tyler Durden from Fight Club, Louis Bloom from Nightcrawler, McMurphy from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Frank, played by James Caan in the movie Thief, very underrated film, Eric Draven from The Crow, played by the late Brandon Lee, and the man with no name from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Okay, so at number 10, officially kicking off this list, we have Bonnie and Clyde starring Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway. I think it's Beatty or Betty, whatever. It's a story about a couple who go throughout the country on a violent crime spree, like stealing cars and robbing banks. I think everyone's pretty familiar with the story of Bonnie and Clyde. The thing I love about this film, though, is that it came out in 1967. The violence in this movie is probably the most brutal thing people have seen next to Psycho in that time when it came out. And it was just, it's historical. At number 9, we have The Joker from 2019, starring Joaquin Phoenix as Arthur Fleck. Phoenix does a phenomenal job in this role as Arthur Fleck, who's a mentally unstable party clown who lives with his mom and a failed stand up comedian. It's just everyone just keeps shit on this dude, and he tries to have a positive outlook, but in the end, he just can't take it anymore, and he finds out truths about his mother and his family that he never knew about. And it just kind of pushes him over the edge. It's a really good take on this villain's story. I'm not sure about the original comics. I'm not huge in comic books, but if this is true to the source material or what. But I think Todd Phillips did a good job making his little story, and I'm just happy it didn't get a sequel. And at number 8, we have this iconic role, John Wick from the movie John Wick. I'm picking the first one because this is really a revenge tale, and it really gets everything going. The rest are just pure action flicks, but this one has meaning to it more so than the others, in my opinion. He plays a retired hitman who's now grieving the loss of his beloved wife. Russian gangsters break into his home in an attempt to steal his car and end up killing his dog. Terrible mistake. And as you can guess, he just goes on a rampage for the rest of the movie, taking down everyone who's responsible in this. And at number 7, we have Falling Down, starring Michael Douglas. This movie doesn't get talked about enough. Also, kind of like Joker, and another movie I'm going to talk about later on here. It's about a guy who's just fed up with the society and everything that's going on in the world around him. One day he just snaps. He takes a journey through Los Angeles in order to get home to his ex-wife and little girl, who don't want him there. The guy is just a ticking time bomb who just commits one violent act after another. And at number 6, we have Neil McCauley from Heat, played by Robert De Niro. He is a professional bank robber who lives by a serious code. Don't let yourself get attached to anything or anyone if you're not willing to walk out 30 seconds flat if the heat's around the corner. He, he said it a lot better than I did, but you get the point. After a semi botched job, the LAPD starts to come down on him and they say, let's get out of here, let's skip town. And he wants to do one more big job. After that big score, he's out of there. Coming in at number 5, we have this badass film, Kill Bill, Volumes 1 and 2. We have Uma Thurman starring as Beatrix Kiddo, aka The Bride. Quentin Tarantino never disappoints. He's one of my favorite directors of all time. And this movie follows a band of assassins who turn on one of their former members, the bride, and attempt to kill her and her whole family at a wedding that she has down in El Paso, I think. I don't think that's right. I don't know why I said that, but imagine El Paso. Turns out she didn't die. She's been in a coma now for 4 years, and when she wakes up, she exacts revenge on each member of that deadly assassin group that betrayed her and tried to murder her and her child. It's brutally violent, it's stylish, cinematic experience is amazing, and it's nothing short of what we would expect from Quentin Tarantino, who is a master of this genre. At number 4, we have this classic, Michael Corleone from The Godfather, especially the first one, because he's more reluctant into this role. He doesn't want to be a part of the family life, the mafia, any of the business that his dad deals with as much as his brothers want to. I'm sure about like 99% of you have seen this movie, so I'm not going to say so much more about it, but Al Pacino, amazing breakout role for him. Go watch the movie if you haven't. If you have, watch it again. It's amazing. It's my top 10. At number 3, we have Daniel Plainview from There Will Be Blood, played by the amazing Daniel Day-Lewis. He plays a miner turned oil man who will stop at nothing to achieve his goals, no matter who stands in his way. As greed consumes him over time, you can see him just descend into madness throughout the film. It's really a brilliant performance by Daniel Day Lewis, as I said, but This is a masterpiece by Paul Thomas Anderson. Go check it out if you haven't seen it. At number two, we have Travis Bickle from Taxi Driver. I mentioned earlier that Joker and Falling Down had similar qualities, but I think they both take from this classic from Martin Scorsese. It's about a mentally unstable war veteran who works as a nighttime cab driver in New York City. After slowly becoming more unhinged throughout the film, after what he sees on the streets as he drives his cab at night, he decides to take matters into his own hands. He discovers 12-year-old girl played by Jodie Foster who's being taken advantage of by a skeevy pimp played by Harvey Keitel. He makes it his mission to get her out of there before he completely goes off the rails. It's a classic, guys. Go watch it. And finally, at number one, which is tied up first for my favorite movie of all time, we have Drive. And the character's name is just Driver. We don't know what it is. Played by Ryan Gosling. He's a mysterious Hollywood stuntman who also serves as a wheelman for bank heists. He falls in love with his neighbor and gets really close with her little boy. But she has a husband who's in jail and he gets released. Kind of ruins everything for the guy. But in order to protect their family, he offers to help the husband rob a pawn shop so that guys from prison won't harm them. Things go south, and the movie just spirals out of control. It has a stellar soundtrack. It's a brutally violent movie, and it's also quite beautiful. It has everything going for it, and it's just a phenomenal film. Okay, so those are my favorite anti-heroes from movies. Let me know in the comments what are some that you like. And if you can, hit that follow button.